$5 billion. $5 billion. $5 billion. Imagine I hit the biggest Powerball jackpot in history, and that money was going straight into my bank account, and I walked away a billionaire. If that were true, I would be up here happily doing the Elon Musk bizarre dance. Though, be honest, I cannot out-weird the real billionaire. So I was daydreaming. That $5 billion was not the jackpot I hit. That money was what Facebook had to pay to the FTC, the largest privacy penalty in history. Here shows the historical moment on July 24th, 2019. Facebook, now is known as Meta, was fined by the FTC for $5 million. And does anyone here remember what for? Raise your hand. Anybody? No? Okay. It was for Cambridge Analytica scandal, where third-party developers exploited Facebook's lax API data governance and harvested data from more than 30 million users without their consent, and used it for political targeting. And it ignited global outrage. Hashtags like delete Facebook, where is Zuck, trended on social media. Congress was calling, Zuck was sweating. And that $5 billion? Oh, that was just the beginning act. Next up, later in 2019, 40 million fine for inflated video metrics. In 2021, another 650 million settlement for violating the BIPA, Biometrics Information Privacy Act. Again, in 2023, 1.2 billion euro, roughly about 1.3 billion US dollars, by the Irish Data Protection Authority for violating the GDPR. And these were not technical glitches, nor operational hiccups. These were real data governance failures. And again, consumers' trust bleached. But now, Meta survived. And you might be wondering, so what? How did they pull through? And actually, they're lucky. Thanks to their massive scale and consumers lock-in. And to be honest, people seem to just enjoy watching those cute dogs and cats videos on Facebook and Instagram. But in B2B world, it is different. Trust actually isn't a feature. Trust is the product. My name is Li Yang. I'm Senior Engineer Manager at Databricks. And before Databricks, I was spending a decade at Meta. I joined Meta in 2013 and left in 2023. Yes, I was there when all those previous headlines, news lines hit us. Oh my, it was crazy time. As I recall, it was feeling like trying to fix airplane while flying it, and with all the regulators watching over your shoulders. And we were scaling fast and had to dealing with all these trust crises and try to rebuild credibilities and still shipping very fast of those products out. So when I'm here talking about data governance, it is not from any white paper. I got all those battle scars. And a fun fact, if you haven't noticed, if you trace the color pattern of all the companies I worked at. Red, blue, multicolor. It loops. So now I'm back at red with Databricks. Clearly, I'm where I meant to be. And it's my destiny to give you all the talk today. And I'm joined by my awesome team member, Donghan Zhang. And Donghan is a senior engineer on my team at Databricks. Before Databricks, Donghan built a data platform for AI and analytics at Airbnb. Yes, Airbnb is probably the app you all have used to book a place to stay for maybe a family ski trip to Lake Tahoe, California. You will hear more from Donghan very soon. But trust me, you are going to be in a real ride. So now, I wanted to turn the spotlight on you for a second. Quick poll here. Who here has sensitive data in your lakehouse? A lot. And how many of you already using Unity Catalog? Awesome, great. More than half. And because, here's the thing. The key difference between in control and in crisis often boils down to what you have done, what have you prepared before things go wrong. At Databricks, we believe data governance matters. And here's the kicker. If data governance is hard, people are going to find a workaround. Trust me, they will. I see you knocking. And if data governance is easy, that becomes paved way, and people will just naturally follow on. So our mission was simple. Make data governance easy for everyone. That is how we transformed our biggest Databricks workspace from being just biggest to truly best. About 2 years ago, there were warning signs. If we didn't act fast, we were heading straight to this. A smelly, messy, unpleasant swamp. We were not in it, but the risk was real. And at Databricks, our ability to enable innovation really depends on how broadly and securely we can enable data access for the company. But we were at risk being stuck in this swamp of data governance pain points. I believe some of you guys are going to relate to what I'm going to share. Fragmented access. Different team, different organization, they manage data access differently and inconsistently. And rising security risks. We manage multi-region, multi-cloud with more and more AI workloads. And manual reviews, endless reviews, legal reviews, privacy reviews, security reviews. All these reviews just slowing down everybody. And evolving regulations. GDPR, HIP, PAA, DPDP, you name it, more are on the way. And you feel like the ground underneath you is constantly shifting. And we didn't have any systematic and trusted access control. This wasn't just a theoretical risk. And what I talked about was already blocking our innovations and slowing all the teams down. While those challenges were real and things were about to accelerate, because we were not talking about just yet another workspace. And we have been dealing one of the biggest workspace on Databricks. As you can see in the chart, about in October 2023, in under 18 months, our workloads, daily workloads, surged from about 300,000 to nearly 1.5 million. more users, more pipelines, more user cases, more AI workloads. All this added to complexity into how we govern our data. And our governance model has to evolve, and evolve fast. Otherwise, we would have been buried by our own growth. To give you a sense of scale, here shows where we are with our biggest workspace. We have close to 9,000 monthly active users. It's pretty much everyone in the company uses the workspace we manage. We have nearly 1.5 million daily workloads running, as I mentioned previously. And we have over 100 petabytes of data under our management. And we have close to 90,000 tables and are still growing at a tremendous rate. So this is not a corner case anymore. This is the core of how Databricks runs on Databricks. And at this scale, the old governance model just didn't have a chance. So we have to find a new way. So how did we approach this transformation? We grounded our work in these three simple yet very powerful guiding principles. The first one, we built guardrails, not gates. We didn't want to block innovations, not even slowing them down. We want to build and pave the way so the teams across the company can even move even faster with confidence. The second principle, platform investment over exceptions. Governance shouldn't be living in manual reviews or any one-off of the process. It should be built into the platform by design. The last but not the least, trust through transparency. And we believe the more we share, the more we expose usage logs, audit logs, access patterns, and our governance posture, and the more we can gain and maintain the trust, both internally and externally. These three guiding principles guided every decision along the way we make while we're building out our data governance platform. And here I share with you the North Star we were aiming for. Imagine data governance is a spectrum. On your far left is data liberal. So in here, everyone can access any data as they wish. It's fast, but very risky and dangerous. On your far right is data conservative. Here, nobody access any data. Very safe, but useless. Quick show of hands. Who here lean towards more data liberal? A few. Okay, now, who lean more towards data conservative? Relatively more. Okay, so a lot of you are like us. So our goal actually was to strike the sweet spot somewhere in the middle. We call it ultimate governance. In here, it is personalized and optimal. And we make the right access of data easy, fast, seamless, and through our paved way. And at the same time, we make the wrong data access hard, being blocked by design with auditability and accountability. This North Star has shaped how we build our platform, how we can be able to scaling without slowing down innovation speed. Let's make it real. So now I invite you to imagine with me. You and I, everyone in the room, now we are wearing these governance hats. Usually not one hat, multiple hats when you are in governance role. And one day, someone from your marketing team pinged you. Hey, I want to access that redacted customer data. And what would you do? You were like, well, it depends. You are right. The answer is not a simple yes or no. You have to think through these 4 questions. What data? Is the data sensitive? Where it lives? Does it have user consent to access? Next question. Who is asking? What is the people's role? Which team is this person on? Does these people have clearance? Third question. Why they need it? Is it for analytics, for AI model training, for external sharing, or just for internal debugging? And the last question, how they are going to use it? Are they going to use our governance platform we build and offer, or ad hocly, even through their manual, customized, whatever notebook and a script, hacky way? Is any AI oversight? So we want a system be able to having the answers for all these 4 questions ready, so that the right decision can be made automatically. This is the high velocity, high leverage governance we want. And the Unity catalog was the foundation we built upon, which enabled us to build this. To fully address the 4 previous key questions we talked about, what, who, why, and how, we built our governance model around the 3 core pillars of access. These pillars sit at the heart of our data governance, and they are enforced automatically through our governance system. So picture that forming a triangle, as showing on the right here. At the top of the triangle is attribute-based access, ABAC. It answers the question for what data. Here we evaluate contextual attributes of the data, its sensitivity, geography, access consent. And the bottom right of the triangle is role-based access, RBAC. It answers the question, who is asking? And we want to honor organizational roles and the clearance levels so that we can enforce default entitlement. Bottom left of the triangle is purpose-based access control, PBAC. These answers, why do they need it? We define clearly and enforce purposes so that we are not only just know who is asking, but also know why behind the ask. So together, ABAC, RBAC, and the PBAC, they form this governance triangle. And by enforcing all these 3 access models through our platform, we achieve finer grained and dynamic controls. These answers, the middle one, how they are going to use our platform. All this ensures the data access and all the policies is applied consistently and responsibly throughout the entire data lifecycle. A critical part of data enforcement model is what we call privacy zone model. This is a framework where data access aligns with data sensitivity. As you can see, after the data get ingested into our workspace, the data travels across zones. And when they travel, those privacy tags come along with them. And they got automatically enforced by our platform. So here, how it works. In zone 1, Here lives the data, which is raw, highly sensitive, and with full fidelity. In the zone here, with very limited access and pre-approved purposes, very limited. And then move to zone 2. The data here is redacted and tagged. PII information, personally identifiable information, got redacted here. The data is tagged properly, and access is purpose-bound. And then move to the last one, zone 3. Here, data is centralized through tagging and aggregation, and it's very safe for AI and analytical uses. This is the broadest access tier. Most purposes are allowed here. Ensuring access is very secure and compliant and purpose-bound. And when someone is accessing your workspace at any of the tier, the privacy policies are enforced automatically around all the egress route. So we talked about the framework, the governance triangle, and the privacy zones. You have to roll it out without breaking things and not throwing teams down. So that's how we took a phased approach. In phase 1, we call it centralized governance. In here, we started establishing by building the foundations and the control here. And then phase 2 is pave the ways. Here, we focus on making compliance access the default experience for everyone. Then we move to the phase 3, hub and spoke governance. That's the way we scale. In here, we are evolving into a model where we have platform enforcement and also have domain ownership and coupled with AI monitoring so that we can scale safely and fast. This phased approach allowed us to scale governance without bottlenecks and continuous improve monitoring. So now you have seen the reasons why we had to make the transformation and the guiding principles, through the guiding our transformation and the actions we have taken from the North Star to the architecture to the privacy zones and to these phased rollout. And as you can see earlier, we showed this before. We were heading straight into this if we didn't act fast. Luckily, we did. So today, our workspace looks like this. A clean, clear, well-structured, full of innovation vistas. Can anyone guess which lake is shown in this photo? Bingo! Yep, that's right, Lake Tahoe in California. And since we are here in Moscone Center, not far away, a few hours driving from Lake Tahoe, I think it's a very perfect metaphor. But we don't magically appear in Lake Tahoe. We are about 200 miles away. So how we get there fast and securely? Now let me welcome my brilliant teammate, Donghan Zhang. He is going to be our tour guide and a driver also. So let's all hop into this flashy Ferrari and cruise towards the beautiful, well-governed lake house, the Lake Tahoe. Take it away, Donghan.
Thanks, Li. Now that you have seen the challenges we faced and where we started, and let me take you on the next part of our journey, how we turned chaos into clarity and how Unity Catalog became our solution. As Lee mentioned, let's picture a secured and governed lakehouse as Lake Tahoe. It's beautiful, it's our dream destination, it's where we all want to be. But how to get there? That's the real challenge. As you can see on this map, there are different routes to the Lake Tahoe. You could try your own path, take some questionable detours. You may even encounter some cliffs. Sure, it eventually gets you there, but not without a lot of risks, delays, and even stress. You could also fly. It was only a 1-hour flight. It's very fast, but it's very expensive. Costs you almost $200. Honestly, it's overkill for most of trips. What if there was a better way? A way just designed for this trip. This highlighted on this map. It's a Highway 80. It gets you to Lake Tahoe safely and efficiently. And for us, the highway was Unity Catalog. What makes a great highway isn't just the road itself. It also includes the road signs, speed limits that keep you safe. It also includes the inspection checkpoints that checks your license plate. It is the Maps app that shows you where you are going. And it also cameras on your car that shows you what's happening in real time. That's all what I want, and that's what exactly Unity Catalog provided us. Not just a path, but tools, observability, and guidance you needed along the way. That's the infrastructure we needed to travel safely and efficiently. Now let's buckle up and start our trip together. You will see the features built into the highway and how they helped us reach our destination. First stop, data security. On any good highway, what keeps you safe? Lane markers, speed limits, road signs, etc. For us, that was Unity Catalog. Unity Catalog provided fine access control. And specifically, there are 3 features benefit us. Number 1, attribute-based access control, or ABAC. It is a way to manage access by evaluating multiple attributes, say data attributes like columns or tags or labels, or user attributes like who the user is, where the user is, or even the time of the day. Second, we have dynamic views. It helps us implement the row level and column level access control directly in SQL. And third, we have audit logs. It logs every user interaction, who accessed what, when, and how, just like security cameras. Let me walk you through a real example that how we leverage the ABAC. At Databricks, we have a large sales team, and we generate a huge amount of sales data. For each account executive, they should only see the data for the accounts they manage, no more, no less. Fair, right? But the challenge is, how do we enforce that visibility rule, especially when people move around or accounts shift hands? This is exactly where ABAC shines. For example, in this notebook, we define a row filter policy called sales account filter. In this policy, it will be applied to all tables in the schema product.sales. And also you can see it references a UDF called account filter UDF, which runs at a query time for each user. The function checks row by row whether the account is visible to the user, and it simply returns true or false. We can also specify that the group of users this policy applies to. In this case, is account executives. Maybe you have a different policy for different groups. See the engineering department, they have less restricted rule because they want to build some data pipelines on top of it. And last, we have match columns, using columns. It means for any table, if they have an account column tagged as sales sensitive, the policy will be applied to them. And the real magic of ABAC is that this policy is enforced globally and automatically. Unlike the traditional row-level security, you have to configure every table individually. For the ABAC, define the rule once, use it everywhere. Data security is one thing, but data privacy is more nuanced. If you think of data security as the guardrails, the link markers, then privacy would be the inspection checkpoints like this. Privacy isn't just blocking access. It's maintaining open access to non-privacy data as well. With the features provided by Unity Catalog, we are confident to open our access to the non-PII part of the world table with a broader audience, without fear of exposure. One of our favorite features is Privacy Dashboard. It's basically an up-to-date view of compliance posture. It's like a real-time control center. And you can ask questions like, what table contains PII data? Which tags are most common? And who accessed what? You are always audit ready, and you don't have to be panicked when GDPR review hits. Here's how it works for another feature called data classification. We have automated data classification in Unity Catalog. As data lands in our workspace, we automatically scan PII data. No manual review is required. Sensitive fields gets tagged as, for example here, the name is tagged as name, and we have location, we have SSN. All of these columns are tagged as sensitive. Once tagged, the policies will be applied automatically, like a row filter or column masks. It's a perfect partner of the ABAC feature I just mentioned. Together, they create a visibility over who accesses what and under what conditions. That's the beauty of data privacy. And we also talk about data security. And next up is data observability. Now imagine you are driving without maps, Google Maps or Apple Maps. You have no idea which exits are jammed, where the gas station is, and how long it will take you to get there. We were in that situation before Unity Catalog. It was very hard to identify which table was being used, which teams were wasting compute, or where inefficiencies were hiding. Then came system tables. It's also another feature provided by Unity Catalog. System tables is built-in tables. Databricks hosted. You don't have to create it separately, but it keeps track of operations data like lineage, billing, job history, etc. From all those usage logs, we were able to get many insights from them. For example, usage insights. We could see which table, which job, which notebook touched each table. For cost attribution, we identify high-cost pipelines, and we align them with team ownership. It's just like checking who is spending too much gas. Third, we have data deprecation. For the tables that hadn't been queried for over 6 months, we either archived or deprecated them. Last, lineage. We saw the full path from very upstream sources to downstream metrics and dashboards. It's like a trail history of each data set. Let me share a true but unhappy story. About 3 weeks ago, I was on call when one of our widely used tables got delayed. Instead of being panicked, I quickly identified the root cause, and it was turned out that we have upstream table delay. Once we identified the root cause, the very next step was to perform impact analysis. Let me pause here and ask, how many of you have ever been an on-call engineer? Cool, we have lots of hands-on people today. And for those who have, can you think back and give a rough estimate, like how long it would take you to do an impact analysis, say generate a list of downstream users who access tables for the information like that. How long? 30 minutes? 1 hour? Or even more? Thanks to system tables, I was able to complete the impact analysis within just 5 minutes. 5 minutes is the runtime of our notebook, and this notebook is for handling incidents like this. As you can see here, the notebook takes in 3 parameters: table name, orchestration level, and lookback window. And under the hood, the notebook will identify the downstream users by accessing the system tables where the lineage information lives in. And it will get the list of users who access this table within the specified time frame, say 30 days in this example. This level of visibility was a game changer. We were not just governing data anymore. We were optimizing by reducing cost, by cleaning up unused data assets, by tuning our pipelines. And for the instant case like this, it helps us minimize disruption and quickly, efficiently communicate with impacted users. Okay, we talked about security, privacy, observability. Let's talk about future and how we brought future to life. Unity Catalog didn't just get us to Lake Tahoe. It's built for the next generation of data-driven experiences. Think of self-driving cars, but for your data. For us, that was Genie Space. Genie Space is no-code, natural language interface at Databricks that lets business users ask questions like, what was my revenue? So business users can analyze or explore data by asking questions without writing any SQL. No SQL, no coding is needed, and it directly connects with the Unity Catalog tables. So you can get instant insights and visualizations. It makes self-serve analytics easy and accessible for everyone. So anyone in your company, as long as they have the right permissions, they can ask questions like, what is the latest monthly active users? Or what is the revenue? What was revenue by region last quarter? Genie returns reliable answers. And Genie is great, but our team made it even better. Lee, can I open source our recipe? Cool. Our secret sauce is metric views. Let me introduce metric views quickly. Metric views is where we define core business KPIs like revenue, active users. Instead of each team coming up with their own definitions, we have a centralized global place to consolidate those definitions. And metric views not only serve as like a single source of truth for metric definitions, but also it is an actual context that we can share with Genie Space. With that actual context, Genie Space was able to provide more accurate, consistent answers with us. And besides, Genie Space and the metric views were governed by Unity Catalog, so all the answers were permissioned, and you can query them across tools like SQL Editor, Jobs, Notebooks, anywhere. So everyone could get the same and trusted answers. Okay, let's take a step back and look how we got here. We talked about data security. We introduced the ABAC, making sure the right people access the right data at the right time. For data privacy, we have automated data classification, so the sensitive information is identified and protected without any manual effort. For data observability, we have system tables, providing visibility into lineage, building, job history. And for data intelligence, we have Genie Space. It empowers different teams to understand and collaborate on core business metrics. All of these innovations brought us to our destination, a trusted, secure, and scalable lakehouse. This is our real story as the data platform team at Databricks. We are running the largest workspace, and we breathe, live these challenges every single day. If Unity Catalog can handle data governance at our scale, I'm confident that it could work for you as well. The road is paved, the features are alive, and the destiny is definitely worth it. Now it's your turn. We invite you to start your trip with us, and we look forward to seeing you at Lake Tahoe.
Thank you, Donghan.